Each day is a fresh opportunity to become a better version of yourself. True growth doesn't happen overnight. It's built step by step, choice by choice, habit by habit. As Wayne Dyer often reminded us, transformation begins within. Today, let's uncover how to improve yourself day by day and unlock the best in you. When people set out on the journey of self-improvement, the first thing they usually look for is a massive breakthrough. They want that sudden spark of transformation that will change everything in a day. They say to themselves, I will work 10 hours today. I'll read 5 books this week. I'll wake up at 4 a.m. starting tomorrow, and they feel inspired for a while. But the truth is, intensity by itself is like a flame that burns too hot too quickly. It doesn't last. The real secret to improving yourself day by day lies in the power of consistency. It is not about how much you do in a single burst of energy, but about what you commit to doing steadily, day after day, even when no one is watching, and even when it feels boring. Consistency is what separates those who dream from those who achieve. Think about it, a drop of water falling on a rock doesn't split it apart in a single strike. But when it keeps falling day after day for weeks, months, or years, it eventually carves through solid stone. That is the power of consistency. It doesn't look dramatic in the moment, but it builds unstoppable force over time. Most people overestimate what they can do in a day, but underestimate what they can do in a year if they stay consistent. Imagine if instead of forcing yourself to work 10 hours one day and burning out, you worked one focused hour every day for a year. That's 365 hours. That's mastery and progress. The problem with intensity is that it depends on emotion. You feel motivated, so you push hard. But emotions are temporary. They rise and fall like waves. If your growth depends only on feeling inspired, you will move forward when you're excited and fall back when the excitement fades. Consistency, on the other hand, is a choice. It is discipline. It is doing what you said you would do, not because you feel like it, but because you know it is the path to who you want to become. And that choice, repeated daily, shapes your destiny. When you choose consistency, you begin to see yourself differently. You develop trust in yourself. Each day you show up and keep your word. You prove to your own mind that you are reliable. And that trust builds self-confidence like nothing else. You don't have to talk yourself into believing you can do it. You know you can because you have evidence. It is the small repeated wins that reprogram your self-image. Reading 10 pages of a book every day doesn't sound like much, but in a year that's over 600 pages, more than most people read in 5 years. Doing 20 push-ups a day doesn't make you a bodybuilder overnight, but in a year you've done over 7,000 push-ups. Small daily steps compound into life-changing results. Consistency is also what carries you through when results are invisible. One of the hardest parts of self-improvement is that you don't always see progress right away. You may go to the gym for a week and still look the same in the mirror. You may practice a new skill for a month and still feel clumsy. This is when most people quit. But if you remain consistent, you understand that growth is happening beneath the surface. Seeds don't sprout the moment you plant them. The roots form first, hidden underground, building the foundation for growth. Your consistent effort is like watering those roots. The harvest always comes later, not instantly. A lot of people ask, but what if I get tired? What if I don't have time? The truth is, consistency doesn't require massive effort every day. It requires steady effort. Even if you can't do your full routine, do something. If you can't write for an hour, write for 10 minutes. If you can't run 5 kilometers, walk for 15 minutes. The point is not perfection, the point is momentum. When you keep the habit alive, even in small doses, you maintain the chain of progress. Breaking the chain is what kills momentum. But if you do something, no matter how small, you keep the fire burning. Over time, this approach makes success inevitable. Think about the difference between someone who studies 1 hour every day for a year and someone who studies 10 hours only once in a while when they feel motivated. The first person builds knowledge brick by brick, layer by layer, and eventually constructs a strong foundation. The second person builds a tall wall in one day and then leaves it half finished, letting it fall apart before they return. Consistency beats intensity because it turns effort into habit, and habits are what ultimately control our lives. We don't rise to the level of our motivation, we fall to the level of our habits. Another thing consistency teaches you is patience. In today's world, everyone wants instant results. We are addicted to quick rewards, fast solutions, overnight success stories. But the truth is, all meaningful success is slow. A tree takes years to grow, a degree takes years to earn, a strong relationship takes years to build. When you learn to show up every day, you develop the patience to wait for results without giving up. You stop chasing shortcuts and you start trusting the process. This shift in mindset is liberating because it removes the constant pressure to arrive and allows you to focus on the daily steps instead. Consistency also builds resilience. There will be days when you feel unmotivated, when you are tired, when things don't go as planned. Intensity fails you in those moments because it relies on bursts of inspiration, but consistency carries you through because it doesn't ask whether you feel like it. It simply asks, what's the next step? You may not run your fastest on a bad day, but you can still show up and jog. You may not produce your best work every single day, but you can still write a page. By showing up despite challenges, you train yourself to persist. That persistence becomes a shield against failure, because as long as you don't stop, you can't truly fail. Some people fear consistency because they think it's boring. They think it means doing the same thing over and over with no excitement. But consistency doesn't mean stagnation. It means repetition with growth. A pianist may practice scales every day, but each day their fingers move more smoothly. Their sound becomes more beautiful. A speaker may practice their delivery repeatedly, but each time their voice grows stronger. Consistency creates mastery, and mastery is anything but boring. It is freedom, creativity, and excellence. If you study the lives of great achievers, you will see this pattern everywhere. Wayne Dyer, whose teachings inspire millions, didn't become a master speaker in one day. He wrote consistently, spoke consistently, refined his ideas consistently. Athletes train daily, not in one massive session. Musicians practice relentlessly, not in one burst of passion. Writers write every day, even when they don't feel inspired. Success is never built on one giant effort. It is built on countless small ones. When you embrace consistency over intensity, you also learn to enjoy the journey instead of rushing to the destination. Because every day becomes meaningful. Each day you improve a little. Each day you move closer to your vision. You begin to love the process itself. And when you love the process, success is no longer a matter of if. It's only a matter of when. So ask yourself, what small action can I take today that aligns with who I want to become? What habit can I commit to? Not for 1 week, not for 1 month, but for the long term. Start small, but stay steady. Whether it's reading 10 minutes a day, writing 1 page a day, or exercising for 15 minutes a day, choose something sustainable. Then protect that commitment as if it were sacred. Over time, you will see the transformation unfold, not in a flash of intensity, but in the quiet power of consistency. And when you look back after a year, you will realize something incredible. You will see how far those tiny steps carried you. You will understand that greatness is not built in sudden bursts of effort, but in the discipline of showing up every single day. Consistency turns ordinary people into extraordinary achievers, and when you embrace it fully, you discover the truth. The best way to improve yourself day by day is not to do more than everyone else in one moment. It is to do something meaningful every day without fail. One of the greatest obstacles between you and the life you dream of is not a lack of resources, not a lack of opportunities, and not even a lack of time. The real obstacle is the excuses you keep telling yourself. Excuses are the walls we build in our own minds, walls that protect us from responsibility but also trap us from progress. Whenever you say, I can't because, what you are really doing is handing away your power. You are letting external circumstances dictate your future. You are saying that something outside of you is stronger than what is inside you. And that is the very belief that prevents you from reaching your potential. The truth is, excuses are comfortable, but they are also dangerous. They make us feel better in the moment because they relieve us from guilt or effort, but in the long run, they rob us of growth. If you want to improve yourself day by day, you must replace excuses with responsibility. Responsibility is the moment you look at your life and say, I am the cause and I am the solution. It is the recognition that while you cannot control everything that happens to you, you can always control how you respond. And it is that response that determines your destiny. Life is not always fair, it is not always easy, and it is not always kind. But blaming the world for your struggles will never move you forward. Taking responsibility does. Responsibility doesn't mean fault, it means ownership. Maybe it is not your fault that you were born into difficulty, but it is your responsibility to rise out of it. Maybe it is not your fault that someone treated you unfairly, but it is your responsibility to decide how you will carry that pain. Maybe it is not your fault that you face setbacks, but it is always your responsibility to keep moving forward despite them. Excuses keep you chained to the past. Responsibility frees you to create the future. Excuses often sound like logic. They sound like, I don't have enough time, or I'm too tired, or I don't have the right connections, or I'll start when I feel ready. But if you listen closely, you'll realize that behind every excuse is fear. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of discomfort. Excuses are masks we wear to avoid admitting that we are scared. But the irony is this: the moment you stop making excuses and accept responsibility, you begin to dismantle fear, because fear loses its power when you shine the light of action on it. You realize that you don't need to wait for the perfect moment or the perfect resources. You simply need to start with what you have, where you are. Consider this: two people can face the exact same challenge, yet one will use it as an excuse while the other uses it as fuel. One says, I can't succeed because I didn't go to the right school, while the other says, because I didn't go to the right school, I will work twice as hard to prove myself. One says, I didn't have supportive parents, so I'll never get far, while the other says, because I didn't have supportive parents, I will become the parent I always wanted. The difference is not the circumstance. It is the choice of responsibility over excuses. Excuses are easy because they shift the burden elsewhere. If you fail, you can say it was because the timing wasn't right or because someone else didn't help you. It protects your ego, but it also leaves you powerless. If the cause of your failure is always outside you, then the solution is also outside you, and you are left waiting forever. Responsibility, on the other hand, is hard because it forces you to look in the mirror. It requires humility to admit, I could have done better. It requires courage to say, I didn't try hard enough. But responsibility also empowers you, because if you are part of the cause, then you are also part of the solution. The moment you accept responsibility, you take the power back into your own hands. Now think about the most successful people in history, in business, in sports, in leadership. Do you think they got there by clinging to excuses? No, they had every reason to give up, but they chose not to. Thomas Edison could have said, I've failed too many times, I'm not cut out for this. Instead, he said, I haven't failed, I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work. Nelson Mandela could have said, I've been imprisoned, life is unfair, I will stay bitter. Instead, he said, I will not let my past define me, I will use it to fuel a movement of freedom. These individuals had the same opportunities to make excuses as everyone else, but they chose responsibility instead. That choice made all the difference. Excuses also thrive on comparison. We look at others and say, they have it easier than me. They had better luck, better opportunities. But comparison only feeds bitterness. Responsibility, on the other hand, looks at others and says, if they can, why not me? It doesn't matter if the path is harder for you. It just means your story will be stronger. Responsibility transforms envy into motivation. Instead of resenting someone's success, you study it, learn from it, and use it to fuel your own. Taking responsibility also means taking ownership of your daily habits, because at the end of the day, it is not the big speeches or the grand dreams that shape your life, it is the choices you make when nobody is watching. Do you hit the snooze button or do you get up? Do you scroll endlessly on your phone or do you invest in your growth? Do you spend your evenings complaining or do you spend them creating? Excuses whisper in those moments, just skip it today. You can do it tomorrow. But responsibility answers, tomorrow is built on what I do today. When you choose responsibility in the small things, you build the character to handle the big things. There will always be valid reasons not to act. Always. You can always find an excuse to delay, to wait, to do less. But ask yourself, what has your last excuse ever given you? Has it brought you closer to your dreams? Has it made you stronger? Or has it only left you stuck in the same place? Excuses give you nothing but regret. Responsibility, however, may be difficult in the short term, but it rewards you with growth, confidence, and progress. The pain of discipline is temporary. The pain of excuses lasts forever. The moment you replace excuses with responsibility, something powerful shifts in your identity. You stop seeing yourself as a victim of circumstances and you start seeing yourself as a creator of outcomes. Victims wait for life to change. Creators make life change. Victims complain about problems. Creators build solutions. Victims focus on what they cannot do. Creators focus on what they can do. And every day you get to choose which one you will be. Let me tell you something important. Responsibility doesn't mean you won't fail. You will fail. You will make mistakes. You will fall short. But when you take responsibility, you learn from each failure instead of running from it. Excuses turn failure into a dead end. Responsibility turns it into a stepping stone. Responsibility says, this didn't work, but I can try again differently. Responsibility says, I am not defined by what happened to me. I am defined by what I choose to do next. And that mindset is unstoppable. So the next time you catch yourself saying, I can't because, stop and challenge it. Replace it with, I will because I must. Instead of saying, I don't have time, take responsibility and say, I didn't prioritize it. Instead of saying, I'm too tired, say, I didn't manage my energy well. Instead of saying, I don't know how, say, I will learn. This simple shift in language rewires your brain because words shape beliefs and beliefs shape actions. When you take responsibility with your words, you program your mind to take responsibility with your life. Remember, every excuse is a story, and the longer you repeat it, the more you believe it. If you tell yourself every day that you can't succeed because of your past, soon that becomes your truth. But the moment you change the story, you change your future. Tell yourself, I am responsible, I am capable, I am willing. Tell yourself, my past may explain me, but it does not define me. Tell yourself, no excuse will control my destiny. When you repeat that truth with action, your life begins to change day by day. The road of excuses is wide and crowded because most people take it. The road of responsibility is narrow and demanding, but it leads to freedom. Which road you choose determines the life you will live. Excuses will give you comfort now but regret later. Responsibility will give you struggle now but greatness later. And the question is, which pain do you want to carry? The temporary pain of responsibility or the permanent pain of regret? If you truly want to improve yourself day by day, start here. Catch every excuse that comes into your mind and crush it with responsibility. Refuse to let yourself off the hook. Refuse to point fingers. Refuse to wait for the perfect moment. Own your life fully, because the truth is no one else is coming to save you. No one else can live your dreams for you. No one else can put in the work for you. It is your responsibility, and that is your power. And when you finally embrace that power, something amazing happens. You stop seeing life as something happening to you and start seeing it as something happening for you. You stop resenting challenges and start welcoming them as opportunities to prove yourself. You stop waiting for motivation and start creating discipline. And every single day, as you choose responsibility over excuses, you rise a little higher. You improve not in one dramatic leap, but in steady, powerful steps. You become the person you were meant to be, not because life made it easy, but because you chose to take responsibility and keep moving forward. Your mind is like fertile soil, and whatever you plant in it will grow. If you feed it seeds of negativity, doubt, and fear, that is exactly what will flourish. But if you feed it positivity, hope, and belief, you will reap strength, confidence, and resilience. The problem is not that life is hard. The problem is that too many people are poisoning their own minds without even realizing it. They consume negativity every day, and then they wonder why they feel stuck, anxious, or hopeless. If you truly want to improve yourself day by day, you must be intentional about what you allow into your mind. You must feed your mind with positivity because your thoughts shape your actions and your actions shape your destiny. Think about it. Everything you do in life starts first as a thought. Before you take a step, you imagine it. Before you speak words, you think them. Before you chase a dream, you believe in it. If your thoughts are polluted with negativity, your actions will be weak and fearful. But if your thoughts are nourished with positivity, your actions will be bold and inspired. Your outer world will always reflect your inner world. This is why two people can face the same circumstance and respond completely differently. One sees only obstacles and says, "I can't." The other sees opportunities and says, "I will find a way." The difference is not the situation, it is the mindset. And your mindset is shaped by what you consistently feed your mind. The truth is, negativity is everywhere. It comes from the media, from toxic conversations, from the voice of doubt inside your head. If you don't guard your mind, negativity will creep in and take over. It's like weeds in a garden. They grow naturally if you're not paying attention. Positivity, on the other hand, requires intention. You must deliberately plant it every day. You must choose the words you listen to, the people you surround yourself with, the content you consume, the thoughts you allow to stay in your mind. Every choice is either feeding positivity or feeding negativity, and over time, those choices build your reality. Some people think positivity means ignoring problems or pretending everything is perfect. That is not true. Positivity is not denial. It is direction. It is choosing to focus on solutions instead of problems, on hope instead of despair, on strength instead of weakness. When a storm comes, negativity says, "This is the end." Positivity says, "This too shall pass, and I will grow stronger because of it." Positivity doesn't mean life is easy. It means you are choosing to face life with a mindset that makes progress possible. If you want to feed your mind with positivity, you must start with the words you speak to yourself. The most powerful voice in your life is not your teacher, your boss, your friends, or even your family. It is your own inner voice. Every day you are talking to yourself, whether you realize it or not. And the question is, what are you saying? Are you saying, "I can't, I'm not good enough, I'll never succeed"? Or are you saying, "I am capable, I am learning, I am growing, I can figure this out"? Your self-talk is either building you up or tearing you down. If you want to change your life, start by changing your words. Replace self-doubt with self-belief. Replace fear with courage. Replace "I can't" with "I can," because your subconscious mind accepts whatever you repeatedly tell it. If you keep telling yourself you are weak, you will act weak. But if you keep telling yourself you are strong, you will begin to act strong. Another way to feed your mind with positivity is by controlling what you consume. Every day you are consuming information through television, music, social media, conversations. Ask yourself, is what I'm consuming uplifting me or draining me? Is it inspiring me to grow or convincing me to give up? Most people consume negativity mindlessly, and then they wonder why they feel anxious or hopeless. If every morning you scroll through bad news, gossip, and complaints, you are starting your day with poison. But if you start your day with uplifting books, motivational talks, or empowering affirmations, you are feeding your mind with energy that fuels growth. What you consume consistently becomes the background music of your life. Make sure it's music that strengthens you, not one that weakens you. The people you surround yourself with are also food for your mind. If you are always around people who complain, who blame, who discourage, you will absorb their energy. Negativity is contagious, but so is positivity. When you surround yourself with people who believe in you, who push you, who inspire you, you naturally rise to a higher level. This doesn't mean cutting everyone out of your life, but it does mean being intentional about who has influence over you. Spend more time with those who lift you up and less time with those who drag you down, because whether you notice it or not, the people around you are shaping the way you think, and the way you think is shaping your life. Gratitude is another powerful form of feeding your mind with positivity. Too often we focus on what we lack, and that focus creates feelings of scarcity and frustration. But when you focus on what you have, you create abundance. Gratitude shifts your perspective from what is missing to what is present. It reminds you that even in difficulty, there is something to be thankful for. Each day, if you take just a few moments to acknowledge your blessings, your health, your family, your opportunities, your ability to learn, you strengthen your mind with positivity. Gratitude doesn't erase problems, but it gives you the strength to face them with a positive heart. Visualization is another powerful practice. Your mind doesn't fully distinguish between reality and imagination. When you visualize success, when you picture yourself achieving your goals, you are feeding your subconscious mind with images of victory. Over time, your actions begin to align with those images. Athletes do this before big competitions. They see themselves winning before they step onto the field. Speakers do this before they walk onto a stage. They imagine the audience clapping and smiling. You can do the same in your own life. By consistently visualizing positivity, you condition your mind to believe in success, and belief fuels action. Feeding your mind with positivity also requires filtering out negativity. Just like you wouldn't eat rotten food for your body, you shouldn't consume toxic content for your mind. Be mindful of gossip, endless complaining, and destructive criticism. Protect your mental diet the same way you protect your physical diet. If something drains you, question why you are allowing it into your life. Positivity doesn't mean avoiding reality. It means choosing not to indulge in things that weaken your spirit. Over time, feeding your mind with positivity transforms your identity. You begin to see yourself differently. Instead of identifying as a victim, you begin to see yourself as capable and resilient. Instead of focusing on what's wrong, you begin to notice what's possible. And when your identity changes, your behavior changes naturally. You no longer force yourself to act confident. You feel confident. You no longer struggle to stay hopeful, you are hopeful, because positivity has become your natural state. Of course, this is not something that happens overnight. Just like building physical strength requires consistent training, building mental positivity requires daily practice. At first, it may feel unnatural, especially if you are used to negative thinking. But the more you practice, the more automatic it becomes. Every positive thought you plant is like a seed, and over time, those seeds grow into a forest of strength, resilience, and joy. The key is consistency. Feed your mind with positivity every single day, and soon it will become second nature. The beautiful thing about positivity is that it doesn't just change your life. It changes the lives of those around you. When you walk into a room with positive energy, you lift others. When you speak words of encouragement, you inspire others. When you live with hope and confidence, you give others permission to do the same. Feeding your mind with positivity allows you to become a source of light in a world that often feels dark. And that light has ripple effects you cannot even measure. So ask yourself, what are you feeding your mind today? What books are you reading? What shows are you watching? What conversations are you having? What thoughts are you repeating? Because every one of these choices is shaping your future. You cannot plant weeds and expect flowers. You cannot feed on negativity and expect a positive life. If you want to improve yourself day by day, you must be intentional about feeding your mind with positivity. And when you make that decision, something powerful happens. Slowly, the world begins to look different. Opportunities appear where before you only saw obstacles. Hope shines where before there was only fear. Confidence grows where before there was doubt. And day by day, your life transforms, not because everything outside of you changed, but because you changed what you fed your mind. That is the power of positivity. It is not a luxury, it is a necessity. It is the fuel that drives growth, the foundation that supports resilience, and the light that guides you through darkness. Feed your mind with positivity, and you will unlock a version of yourself that is stronger, braver, and more unstoppable than you ever imagined. Every single one of us has faced setbacks. We've all had dreams that didn't go the way we expected, goals that fell apart, and moments where life seemed to push us down when we were trying to climb up. It's easy in those moments to feel defeated, to feel like the universe is against us, to say, why me? Why now? But the truth is this: setbacks are not the end of your story. They are setups for your next breakthrough. Every failure, every disappointment, every challenge has within it the seed of growth if you choose to see it. The people who rise in life are not the ones who never face setbacks. They are the ones who learn to transform setbacks into setups. When you face a setback, you are at a crossroads. You can see it as proof that you are not good enough, or you can see it as preparation for something greater. You can see it as punishment, or you can see it as training. You can let it break you, or you can let it build you. The choice is always yours. Most people allow setbacks to convince them to stop. They say, I tried, it didn't work, I guess I'm not meant for this. But the truth is, the setback was not meant to stop you. It was meant to strengthen you, to teach you, to prepare you. Every great success story has chapters of struggle, and without those chapters, the story would not be complete. Think about a slingshot. Before it can launch forward, it first has to be pulled back. The greater the pullback, the greater the launch. That's what setbacks are. They are the pullback, the tension, the resistance that sets you up for a leap. Without the pullback, there is no acceleration. Without the struggle, there is no strength. Without the fall, there is no rise. It's not what happens to you that defines you. It's how you use what happens to you. History is full of examples of people who turned setbacks into setups. Walt Disney was fired from a newspaper job because they said he lacked imagination. Imagine that the man who built one of the most creative empires in history was told he wasn't creative enough. Instead of letting that setback define him, he used it as a setup to build something far greater. Oprah Winfrey was told she wasn't fit for television. Instead of quitting, she used that rejection as a setup to build a career that inspired millions. Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team. That moment could have crushed him, but he used it as fuel to practice harder, to rise higher, to become one of the greatest athletes of all time. The setback wasn't the end, it was the beginning. When you face a setback, the first thing you must realize is that it doesn't mean failure. A setback is simply feedback. It is life's way of showing you what doesn't work, of guiding you toward what does. Thomas Edison said, I haven't failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work. Every time something doesn't go the way you planned, it is an opportunity to learn, to adjust, to come back stronger. The only true failure is giving up. As long as you keep going, your setback is simply part of the journey. Setbacks also have a way of revealing your true strength. It's easy to stay motivated when everything is going well, but it is when things fall apart that you discover what you are really made of. Resilience is not built in comfort. It is built in struggle. When you get knocked down and choose to rise again, you prove to yourself that you are stronger than your circumstances. Each time you bounce back, you grow tougher, wiser, more unstoppable. What once seemed impossible becomes possible because you know you have survived worse. There is also a deeper reason why setbacks can be blessings in disguise. Sometimes what you think you want is not actually what you need. Life has a way of redirecting you through setbacks. You may lose a job only to discover your true calling. You may face rejection only to find a better opportunity waiting. You may fail at one path only to realize you were meant for another. Looking back, you often see that the setback was not destruction, it was redirection. But in the moment, you must have the faith to trust that the pain is serving a purpose. Turning setbacks into setups requires a shift in perspective. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Start asking, what is this teaching me? How is this preparing me? Where is this leading me? Those questions transform your pain into growth. They give meaning to the struggle. And when struggle has meaning, it becomes bearable, even valuable. Every setback carries a lesson, and if you find the lesson, you find the setup. You also have to be careful about the story you tell yourself in the face of setbacks. When something goes wrong, your mind will try to create a story. It might say, you're not good enough. You'll never succeed. This is the end. But you get to choose the story. You can choose to say, this is not the end. This is the beginning of something better. This is my setup. The story you choose determines whether you quit or keep going. So take control of the narrative. Refuse to call it a failure. Call it a setup, a lesson, a step forward in disguise. Think of a seed planted in the ground. Before it can grow, it must first be buried in darkness. It must be pressed by the weight of soil. If the seed could speak, it might call this a setback. But in truth, that burial is its setup for growth. Without the darkness, it would never sprout. Without the pressure, it would never break open. That's exactly how life works. Your darkest moments, your heaviest pressures, can be the very conditions that force your growth if you don't give up. It's also important to realize that setbacks prepare you for responsibilities you are not yet ready for. Sometimes you want success before you have the strength to carry it. The setback is training. It's building your endurance, your patience, your wisdom so that when success comes, you can handle it. Without setbacks, success would crush you. But with setbacks, you develop the resilience to sustain it. Think of athletes. They train by putting their bodies under stress, lifting heavy weights, pushing through pain. Why? Because the struggle prepares them for the real challenge. Setbacks in life are no different. They are weights that strengthen you for the championship ahead. When you choose to see setbacks as setups, you develop unstoppable optimism. You stop fearing failure because you know it's not final. You stop dreading challenges because you know they are opportunities in disguise. You stop giving up easily because you trust that every detour is part of the journey. This mindset doesn't make setbacks less painful, but it makes them powerful. Instead of weakening you, they empower you. Instead of stopping you, they launch you. So the next time you face a setback, and you will, because setbacks are part of life, remember this: you are being set up for something greater. You may not see it yet, but you are being prepared. The question is not whether you will face setbacks. The question is how you will use them. Will you let them defeat you, or will you let them develop you? Will you call them failures, or will you call them setups? The choice is yours. And when you make the choice to turn setbacks into setups, your life changes. Suddenly, nothing can stop you. Obstacles become opportunities. Delays become redirections. Rejections become redirections. Every time life pushes you down, you rise higher. Every time a door closes, you look for the window that opened. Every time you are pulled back, you trust that you are about to be launched forward. With this mindset, improvement becomes inevitable because nothing can hold you back. Not failure, not rejection, not pain. Everything becomes part of your setup for greatness. So embrace your setbacks. Don't run from them. Don't curse them. Don't see them as the end. See them as the preparation for your next chapter. Trust that the struggle is shaping you, the pain is teaching you, the delay is positioning you. And when the breakthrough comes, and it will, you will look back and realize that every setback was not wasted. Every setback was a setup. Every closed door, every rejection, every disappointment was part of the process that made you stronger, wiser, and ready for the success you were meant to achieve. There is a simple truth about growth that many people overlook. You cannot improve what you do not examine. Life moves fast, and most of us are so busy rushing from one task to another, from one responsibility to the next, that we rarely pause to look back at the day we just lived. We keep going and going, hoping that somehow tomorrow will be better than today, that somehow progress will appear on its own. But the reality is that growth does not happen by accident, it happens by intention. And the only way to live with intention is through self-reflection. Daily self-reflection is the practice of stopping, of taking a breath, of looking inward and asking yourself the hard but necessary questions. What did I do well today? What did I learn today? Where did I fall short? How can I do better tomorrow? It is a quiet discipline, but it is one of the most powerful tools for self-improvement. When you practice daily self-reflection, you begin to live consciously rather than unconsciously. Most people live on autopilot. They repeat the same habits, the same mistakes, the same excuses day after day, because they never stop to analyze their actions. Self-reflection interrupts autopilot. It makes you aware of your patterns. It reveals the choices you are making, both the good ones and the bad ones. Without reflection, you might waste years repeating the same mistakes, wondering why your life is not changing. With reflection, you can catch those mistakes early, correct them, and create a new path forward. Reflection turns experience into wisdom. It's important to understand that experience alone does not make you wiser. You can go through the same situation 100 times and still learn nothing if you never reflect on it. That's why some people repeat the same failures again and again in relationships, in careers, in personal goals. They don't pause to reflect. They don't ask, what is this trying to teach me? They simply move on, only to encounter the same problem again. Self-reflection breaks that cycle. It takes your experiences, both successes and failures, and extracts the lessons from them. And when you learn the lessons, you grow. Daily self-reflection is also about honesty. It is about holding a mirror up to yourself and being willing to see the truth, even when it's uncomfortable. It is easy to point fingers at others, to blame circumstances, to say, life is unfair. But reflection forces you to look at your own role. It asks, what part did I play in this outcome? What could I have done differently? That honesty is not always pleasant, but it is powerful. Because once you own your actions, you can change them. Without ownership, you remain stuck. With ownership, you become free to create something better. Think of the greatest performers in any field. Athletes, artists, entrepreneurs, they all practice reflection in some form. After a game, athletes watch the replay. They study what worked, what didn't, where they made mistakes, how they can adjust for next time. Musicians listen to their own recordings, noticing every flaw, every note that could be improved. Entrepreneurs look at their past decisions, analyzing what led to success and what led to failure. This process of reflection is what allows them to grow faster than others. They are not just working hard, they are working smart because they are constantly learning from their own experiences. Daily self-reflection also builds self-awareness, and self-awareness is the foundation of personal growth. If you do not know yourself, your strengths, your weaknesses, your habits, your triggers, you cannot change yourself. Reflection helps you understand who you are and why you do what you do. It shines a light on your blind spots, the areas you normally overlook. Maybe you realize that you tend to procrastinate when a task feels overwhelming. Maybe you notice that you get defensive when someone criticizes you. Maybe you discover that you are more productive in the morning than at night. These insights may seem small, but they are life-changing because once you are aware, you can take control. You can adjust your strategies, your habits, your mindset. Another gift of self-reflection is clarity. In the rush of daily life, it is easy to lose sight of your goals. You get caught up in urgent tasks, distractions, and pressures, and before you know it, you are living reactively instead of proactively. Reflection brings you back to center. It reminds you of what truly matters. When you reflect, you ask yourself, am I moving closer to my goals, or am I drifting away? Am I living according to my values, or am I compromising them? Am I becoming the person I want to be? These questions keep you aligned with your purpose. They prevent you from wandering too far off course. They ensure that you are not just busy, but productive in the direction that matters most. Self-reflection is not about beating yourself up. It is not about judging yourself harshly or drowning in regret. It is about learning and growing. Many people avoid reflection because they are afraid of confronting their mistakes. But reflection is not about shame. It is about improvement. It is about saying, yes, I fell short, but now I understand why, and tomorrow I will do better. It is about progress, not perfection. When you approach reflection with compassion, you create an environment where growth is possible. You see your flaws clearly, but you also believe in your ability to change them. Daily reflection can be simple. It doesn't require hours of meditation or complicated rituals. Just a few minutes at the end of the day can change your life. Sit quietly, turn off distractions, and review your day. Ask yourself, what did I accomplish? What did I learn? What challenges did I face, and how did I respond? What would I like to do differently tomorrow? Write down your thoughts if you can, because writing forces clarity. Over time, these small reflections add up. You begin to notice patterns. You begin to see progress. You begin to grow with intention. Self-reflection also strengthens resilience. When challenges come, and they will, reflection helps you process them instead of being consumed by them. It allows you to step back and see the bigger picture. Instead of being lost in the emotion of the moment, you can ask, what can I learn from this struggle? How can this make me stronger? Reflection transforms setbacks into lessons, pain into wisdom. It helps you rise above difficulties with a mindset of growth instead of defeat. In relationships, reflection is just as powerful. How often do we blame others for conflicts without reflecting on our own behavior? Reflection asks, how did I contribute to this argument? Could I have listened better? Could I have spoken more kindly? This awareness improves your relationships because it makes you more empathetic, more patient, more responsible. Reflection doesn't just change how you see yourself, it changes how you treat others. When you practice self-reflection daily, you also begin to appreciate your progress. Too often we are so focused on what we haven't achieved that we forget to celebrate how far we've come. Reflection allows you to look back and see the growth. Maybe a year ago you would have reacted with anger, but today you responded with patience. Maybe last month you struggled to wake up early, but this week you did it consistently. These small victories might go unnoticed if you never reflect, but when you do, they remind you that you are improving. They give you confidence to keep going. Reflection also builds humility. It reminds you that you are not perfect, that there is always room to grow. It keeps you from arrogance because you are always examining yourself honestly. At the same time, it builds confidence because you see your growth clearly. This balance of humility and confidence is powerful. It keeps you grounded, yet driven. It keeps you grateful, yet ambitious. The truth is, self-reflection is not always comfortable. Sometimes you will face truths you don't like. Sometimes you will realize that you have been avoiding responsibility, or that you have been making excuses, or that you have been wasting time. But discomfort is where growth happens. If you are willing to sit with that discomfort, to face it with honesty and courage, you will come out stronger. Growth requires truth, and truth comes through reflection. Over time, self-reflection becomes a habit that shapes your entire life. It keeps you aligned with your purpose, aware of your actions, and committed to growth. It prevents you from drifting aimlessly because you are always course correcting. It turns each day into a lesson, each experience into wisdom, each mistake into a stepping stone. It transforms your life from random to intentional. So I challenge you to take a few minutes every day to reflect. Don't wait until the end of the year. Don't wait until things fall apart. Start today. Ask yourself, what did I learn today? How can I be better tomorrow? It may seem small, but over weeks, months, and years, it will change everything. You will no longer lie blindly. You will live with clarity, with awareness, with purpose. And when you look back years from now, you will see not just a life full of experiences, but a life full of lessons, growth, and intentional progress. you will see that self-reflection was not just an exercise. It was the compass that guided you, the mirror that showed you the truth, the practice that transformed your ordinary days into extraordinary growth. That is the power of daily self-reflection. It may be quiet, it may be simple, but it is one of the most powerful habits you can ever practice. Every human being is born with a deep longing for meaning. It is not enough to simply exist, to wake up, go through the motions, and repeat the cycle day after day. Inside each of us is a quiet voice that asks, why am I here? What is the point of all this? What difference am I supposed to make? That longing is the search for purpose, and until you discover it and begin to align your actions with it, life can feel empty, no matter how busy you are or how much you achieve. You can climb the ladder of success, but if the ladder is leaning against the wrong wall, you will reach the top and realize you are unfulfilled. Purpose is the wall that matters. Purpose is what gives direction to your climb. Aligning your actions with your purpose is the key to living a life that not only looks successful on the outside but feels deeply fulfilling on the inside. When your actions are disconnected from your purpose, life feels scattered. You may be working hard, but you feel drained instead of energized. You may be achieving goals, but those goals leave you empty instead of fulfilled. That is because true fulfillment does not come from achievement alone. It comes from alignment. Imagine rowing a boat with great effort, but in the wrong direction. No matter how strong you row, you will not reach the destination you truly want. Purpose is the compass, and your actions are the strokes of the oar. Without purpose, your actions may keep you busy, but they won't take you where you truly long to go. With purpose, even the smallest action has meaning, and every step takes you closer to the life you are meant to live. The first step in aligning actions with purpose is to recognize that purpose is not something outside of you. It is something within you. Many people search for purpose as if it is hidden somewhere far away, waiting to be found in a job title, a paycheck, or a status symbol. But purpose is not found in external things. It is discovered within yourself. It is revealed in the things that make you feel alive, in the values you hold dearest, in the contributions you long to make to the world. Purpose is not just what you do, but why you do it. And once you begin to uncover that why, you can start aligning your actions with it every single day. Living with purpose does not always mean making dramatic changes overnight. It does not mean quitting your job tomorrow or moving to another country or starting a brand new life. Sometimes aligning with purpose begins with small, simple choices. It is about asking yourself each day, does this action bring me closer to the person I want to become? Does this choice reflect the values I want to live by? Does this step align with the bigger picture of my life? If the answer is yes, then you are living with purpose. If the answer is no, then it is an opportunity to adjust, to choose differently. Every small choice matters because it is in the accumulation of choices that a life of purpose is built. When your actions align with your purpose, something shifts inside of you. Work no longer feels like a burden. It becomes a form of contribution. Challenges no longer feel meaningless. They become stepping stones towards something bigger. Even struggles and sacrifices take on meaning because they are in service of a greater vision. Think of the parent who wakes up early every morning, not out of obligation, but out of love for their children. Think of the artist who spends long nights creating, not for recognition, but because they feel called to express something deeper. Think of the leader who faces setbacks, but continues to fight because their vision is bigger than their pain. Purpose turns ordinary actions into extraordinary meaning. The danger many people fall into is living by default instead of by design. They let circumstances dictate their actions, rather than letting their purpose guide them. They follow trends, societal pressures, or the expectations of others instead of listening to their own inner compass. As a result, they may achieve things that look impressive to the outside world, but deep down they feel unfulfilled. Living by purpose means reversing that pattern. It means designing your life intentionally so that your actions flow from within rather than being shaped solely by external pressures. It means asking, is this path truly mine, or is it just what others expect of me? Purpose also gives you resilience. When you are aligned with it, setbacks do not break you, they strengthen you. If your actions are only motivated by money, recognition, or comfort, then when difficulties come, you may give up. But if your actions are rooted in purpose, you will endure, because the why behind your actions is stronger than the obstacles in front of you. Purpose fuels persistence. It gives you the strength to keep moving forward when the path is difficult, because you know that what you are working for is bigger than yourself. Aligning actions with purpose also requires clarity about your values. What do you stand for? What matters most to you? Is it growth, love, contribution, creativity, freedom, service? When you identify your core values, you can measure your daily actions against them. If you value health, are your actions supporting that value? If you value family, are you spending quality time with them? If you value growth, are you learning, practicing, stretching yourself? Without this alignment, you experience inner conflict. You say you value one thing but live another. With alignment, you experience harmony, you live in integrity with yourself. That integrity is what brings peace, confidence, and authenticity. It is also important to understand that purpose is not static. It evolves as you grow. The purpose you felt in your 20s may not be the same as the purpose you feel in your 40s. As your experiences change, your values may deepen and your calling may shift. That is why reflection is so important. It keeps you attuned to where your purpose is leading you now. Aligning actions with purpose is not a one-time decision. It is a continuous process of listening, adjusting, and realigning. It is a lifelong journey. Some people hesitate to align with purpose because they fear it means giving up security or stability. They think living with purpose requires them to take dramatic risks. But the truth is, purpose can be integrated into your current life step by step. You can bring purpose into your work by focusing on how you contribute, not just what you earn. You can bring purpose into your relationships by being intentional about how you love, listen, and support others. You can bring purpose into your daily routines by doing small acts of kindness, practicing gratitude, or committing to personal growth. Purpose is not limited to grand gestures. It lives in the simple choices of every day. When your actions align with your purpose, your energy changes. People notice it. You walk with more confidence because you know you are on the right path. You radiate positivity because you are not drained by meaningless pursuits. You are fueled by meaningful ones. Your presence inspires others, not because you are perfect, but because you are authentic. You are living from a place of truth, and that truth shines through everything you do. It is worth asking yourself, what would your life look like if every action you took was aligned with your highest purpose? How different would your days feel? How much more fulfilled would you be? How much more impact would you make? The reality is, you don't have to wait for the perfect moment to start. You can begin today, right where you are. You can take one step that aligns with your values, one action that reflects your true self, one choice that moves you closer to your vision. And when you do it again tomorrow, and the next day, and the next, you will look back and realize that your life has transformed, not by accident, but by alignment. So many people reach the end of their lives and realize they were busy but not fulfilled. They spent years climbing, striving, achieving, but they never asked if their actions were aligned with their deeper purpose. Don't let that be your story. Don't wait until later. Choose now to align your actions with what matters most. Let every step you take reflect your true self, your true calling, your true purpose. Because at the end of the day, success without purpose is emptiness. But success with purpose is fulfillment. Achievement without alignment is noise, but achievement with alignment is music. You were not born to simply survive. You were born to contribute, to grow, to create, to make a difference. Your purpose is already within you, waiting to be lived. Align your actions with it, day by day, step by step, choice by choice. And when you do, you will not just live a life. You will live a legacy.